Goldeneye 007 from the Nintendo 64. Are you tired of friendships built on trust, mutual respect, and healthy communication? Introducing the game that replaces all of that with a trident-shaped controller and pure, distilled rage. 4-player, split-screen action, so thrilling, so cutting-edge, that your console will slow down to a dignified slideshow just to savor every frame of betrayal. Play as Oddjob, history's most controversial secret agent, scientifically engineered to be shorter than your opponent's aim. Please consult your local house rules before selecting. The complex, the facility, the archives, legendary levels so iconic you'll be reciting their bathroom floor plans on your deathbed. Proximity mines, because nothing says spy thriller like turning a stairwell into a minefield and calling it fair play. Slappers only mode for the purists, for legends, for the men and women who believe the truest form of combat is running full speed at your best friend with an open palm. Or Golden Gun. One shot, one kill, one entire evening of screaming over how that shot totally should have hit. Goldeneye 007. It's not just a game. It's the reason your thumb still clicks weird in cold weather.
Retro Recall.
Welcome back to Retro Recall, the show with more nostalgia than the number of times your buddies claimed, no, for real, I wasn't looking at your part of the screen.
I was. All right. Today, we're going to really the first time video gaming became truly mainstream, where kids, teenagers, young adults, and whatever else would get together on Friday and Saturday nights with pizza, beer, soda, and sit together and play hours and hours of gaming. Goldeneye for the N64. We're going to go through what the game is, what our memories of it are, why it was so important, and what it's like trying to play it in 2026.
Oh boy.
It's not easy.
Oh boy. Yeah. Let's get into it. Let's go back in time. Take me back in time. Most of the games we've talked about have been in like 80s, early 90s, but we're going a little bit further down the timeline.
This is much later. So this was released on this was released on N64 on August 25th of 1997 by Rare Studios, the company that gave us Battletoads, Killer Instinct, quite a few games. Rare is one of Nintendo's favorite developers by a long margin.
Yeah, and they stuck with them in the Nintendo 64 era when they lost a number of other developers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one because everyone else went to Sony because it was actually more lucrative. But side note for a different day.
Yeah, and easier to develop on, but yes.
Everything was better. Everything was better. Although a few of them did go to, Dreamcast. That didn't end well.
That did not work out, yeah.
It turns out IP violations. Anyway, so number one song in America, I'll Be Missing You by Puff Daddy and Faith Evans. Not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Nope.
Onward. Anyway, next on the list.
Onward and upward. 1997 is a springboard for pop punk. This is when Dude Ranch by Blink-182 comes out, Ixnay on the Hombre by Offspring, Nimrod by Green Day, and they're all getting a lot of radio plays. This is probably the springboard of pop punk. We've had punk on the radio before then, but this is pop punk becoming a thing.
This is like they all had successful albums that went indie and then got real big. And this is now like the next phase of that was like, okay, here's another full big budget album, definitely getting radio play, all of that.
But even indie music's getting big here. Radiohead's not my music, but I do know OK Computer is one of their top albums, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, it is more my music, and OK Computer is a brilliant album. Like,
that's what I've heard. This is what I've heard. Yes.
As a music guy, like that album is extremely influential in my understanding of what you can do in like the indie, like alternative music space.
That also, this is why I say 97 is a cool year, because you start getting a lot of the most alternative music. The Verve has Urban Hymns come out. Another album, not my music, but I respect it. And then Oasis is the interesting one, because Oasis releases Be Here Now. It's hard calling them alternative because at this point they're a global hit, but honestly, they're still not pop music though. I have to give Oasis the credit. They they're not wonderful people. They're just not. I mean, let's call it out. But I will give Oasis endless credit. They never sold out. They just made music. People discovered they liked their music, and they never changed their sound. And at this point, they're putting out their third album, which has some very fun history behind it, in the sense that the studio was terrified that this album would be not well received. It was incredibly well received, by the way.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, talk about a band that can write a catchy melody and get a song that works on the radio, even though they're coming from an alternative rock kind of Britpop sort of thing.
Well, and I do want to point this out real quick. So for our younger listeners, what Tom and I are referring to is when musicians in the 90s, a lot of them had their music written for them. If you were a pop musician in the 90s,
like a lot of people still today. Yeah.
A lot of their music was written for them. The lyrics were written, the chords were written, everything was written for them. It was basically done almost like, we didn't have AI back then, but it was done as an algorithm for this will sell. Therefore, you are now a band, you now exist, you go. And these alternative bands start getting radio play. They don't sound like that. They wrote their own music. And this is why I give Oasis a lot of credit. They are a band who did not.
They wrote their own music. Right. Yeah. They were in competition. Yeah. In the pop market, they were in competition with Britney Spears and NSYNC and the Spice Girls and stuff like that. And all of those groups or individuals, you're right. They were, the labels were like, okay, here's some songs. These are the ones we want to put on your album, learn them, sing them. And they, as they became more famous and popular, they had a little bit more say in which songs, and they might get to change a few little parts. But you're right. I'm not a big Oasis fan, but I absolutely respect the fact that they were writing their own music.
Exactly.
100%.
But let's get into movies, because we have some fun ones here. Now, movie time. We could cover a bunch of them. It's August. It's 1997. We could do Spawn. There's a movie.
Okay. That's a movie.
Yeah. We could do George of the Jungle.
That's also...
honestly... Also funny, very enjoyable. How about Air Force One? By the way, the plot should have been pretty quick. They crashed the plane. Movie's over. But side note, Event Horizon. I do a 40K Lorecast. It is a Warhammer 40K movie. I was tempted to do Copland, and if you're not aware of Copland, it stars Sylvester Stallone, next to Harvey Keitel, Ray Liotta, and Robert De Niro. If you want to know the acting capabilities of Sylvester Stallone, watch this movie. You'll discover they're not high. It shows up. But no, we're doing Face Off. Oh boy. Oh, Face Off.
Oh now, boy. Man, okay, so real quick, this year is like 1997. I'm 19 years old. Yeah. I am at the top of my high school snarky, smartass version of myself. And I probably made fun of Copland and having a dumb name, and Face Off and the premise being super dumb. I made fun of every one of these films that you've mentioned so far.
I've seen every one of these films that we've mentioned so far, for the record. And Face Off, I have to pick, because Face Off stars John Travolta and, of course, Nicolas Cage, because who else?
Right.
And the plot of this movie, just so everyone understands, because most of you haven't seen it, I mean, good for you, is there is a terrorist plot, and an FBI agent captures the lead terrorist, and he has this plan. I'm going to undo the terrorist plot by getting experimental surgery to swap faces with him that also will affect our bodies, apparently. But in order to do it, we have to actually swap. But then the terrorist wakes up, and now movie. That's our movie. It's one of the worst things ever made, and honestly, I cannot express enough. It's a movie, if you've seen, people like me, we bond over the fact that you've seen it.
But and it's terrible.
But if someone else says, "Oh, should I see it?" we will both look at you and say, "Absolutely not. Do not waste your time watching this horrible film."
No.
But there you go.
It's a super dumb premise, but the movie takes itself real seriously.
Oh, it's really, you have two actors who did not realize, well, it wasn't a joke, but it was.
It felt like it should have been a joke, but
you have, I mean, the most important part of this film, I don't care about the plot, is John Travolta is doing the best possible impression he can of Nicolas Cage. And Nicolas Cage is doing the best possible impersonation he can of John Travolta. And I'm going to be honest, they're not very good actors to start with. This is not a great recipe.
Yeah.
But you can watch clips of it on YouTube, and that's worth your time.
Yeah. And heck, you wouldn't have had John Travolta in this film if it wasn't for the Tarantino film, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Like that relaunched his career. And then all of a sudden he's in movies like this with Nicolas Cage. And all of a sudden he's an action hero. And it's like,
making a lot of money. Yeah. He was in Greece.
What is even happening? Yes.
He was in Greece. It's fine.
Right. This dude was known for shaking his hips and charming the girls. And here he is swapping faces.
I'm not doing it now, but one day we can talk Die Hard about the fact that people laughed when the first thing came out because Bruce Willis was a romantic comedy star.
A TV star. He was a TV star. Yeah.
Rom-com.
A rom-com TV star. Yeah, absolutely.
But, anyway, let's get into shooting stuff because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, let's shoot stuff.
All right. So blah, 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 blah game development. I don't care. This game was developed neat. We could spend 15 minutes talking about how Rare Studios visited the set of the movie to get all the polygons right and then how they cared about the weapons and the fact that like they put Sean Connery in the game, but then found out later they actually have to get this thing called the rights to people, then had to pull him out of the game. But if you put a cheat code in, you could get him into the game. Anyway, who cares?
Even though all the characters were still only made out of like 12 polygons and you would have barely been able to tell who it was.
None of that actually matters because the truth of the matter is that the first person version of this game is terrible. The single player campaign of this game is fine, but no one would have cared. You would have played this game 2 times through, maybe 3, and it would have been dusty in the corner, just like the game Perfect Dark, which is its sequel, and that's what happens to it. No one cares. What matters about this game was they, for whatever reason, and thankfully they did, made it a 4-way split screen. So they copied Mario Kart. And the idea was, but they've never done this with shooters before. So they copied Mario Kart, and now 4 of us are playing a game at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
This also is helped by the fact that this is a time when buying big TVs is a thing. The way that your CRTs are working, they're made better at this point. You actually can have larger televisions. I'm
imagining some 20-year-old who's listening to this podcast. Maybe it's you listening at home. And you're imagining, oh, well, they had big TVs in the mid to late 90s. We're not talking like big TVs today where you get like a 90-inch screen. We're talking CRTs that were just bigger than regular CRTs.
I mean, they're big. You could have like a 60-inch CRT. You could have...
Yeah, but not like 90, 110 inches. Well,
yeah,
like
fine.
Big TV. You walk into freaking Costco today and the TV in front of you is the size of a truck. You know, like it's huge.
Yeah, but here's a fun nostalgia moment for a lot of us. I recently had to replace one of the TVs in my house. An old LCD went away. And so I bought it and I mounted it on a wall myself because it weighed 40 pounds.
Right.
Put the mounts up, literally pick the thing up, put it in the wall. For those who don't know what I look like, I'm not a small person. I'm over 200 pounds. I'm over 6 feet tall, but still soloed this thing on a wall like it was nothing. Boom, done.
Yeah.
That's because it weighed 40 or 50 pounds.
Right.
I looked it up. A 60-inch CRT weighed 200 to 250 pounds back in the day. And I had to look it up because I remember moving these damn things.
Yes.
And, for pizza and beer for a buddy.
Yeah. I mean, heck, being a male at that time in your late teens, early 20s, and like, people would call you, hey, can you help me move? Yeah. Okay.
And you'd go to the house. The first thing you'd look around for was the TV. How big is this thing? Because it was going to be the heaviest part of the move.
Right.
Every single time.
Right. And some were so big that you couldn't just get 2 guys on it. Sometimes you needed a third or fourth person to help navigate and get it on the back of the truck and all of that. Yeah. Oof.
One of the things that makes this game such a hit, though, is that this is that time. This is the late 90s. Big TVs are in. People are starting to do this. And so the 4-way split screen does work. Mm-hmm. And this game is a colossal hit. They do about 7 million copies over 4 years. It is the 3rd best selling game of all time behind, on N64, obviously, behind Super Mario and Mario Kart. And it's ranked behind those 2, although some people actually will rank it above Mario Kart. They're wrong, but they will rank it above it. Just clearly, they're wrong as one of the best games for the system.
Yeah. Oh, you know what else is really cool is the N64 had built into it 4 plugs for controllers.
Yeah, of course.
The whole console was designed around this idea of like, oh, get a group of people together and play.
Yeah, so let's talk about getting back and playing this game. So I tried to rope my family into playing with me. They all said no. So I had to do the single player campaign and then watch videos of recordings of the 4-player to kind of re-jog some of the memories. They are strong. I played a lot of this when I was in, because Tom, a couple years younger than Tom, so this would have been, my
like mid high school for you.
Yeah, sophomore, junior year. We were drinking, so sophomore, junior year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't play a lot of this. This was the game that you'd go to like somebody's house for a party, and there'd be a group of people like on the couches in the living room, all around the TV, passing the controller, shooting each other, jumping around, yelling at each other. That's what I remember about this. But I never did try the single player because I didn't have an N64 and I didn't try it for myself. Yeah. But I do remember being one of those people who had already been into PC shooters. I was playing Doom, I was playing Quake, I was playing Unreal. I got real into that and got real used to the mouse and keyboard controls by that point. And then picking up the controller to play this, I felt super awkward, I guess is the best way to say it. And I also thought like, oh, this is cute. Like console players now have a first person shooter to play. Well, that's fun. And I felt a little superior with my PC gaming skills because I was an elite PC player. But I don't know, man. Going back, we're going to get into it. But it's like those PC first-person shooters were still a lot better. Even comparing backwards.
We're going to disagree on this quite a bit because I'll be honest, I think this was a lot better. And I'll explain why. I'll explain why. It has to do with the nostalgia piece. So when we get to the good, I need all of our young listeners to understand this type of game never existed before. There were no multiplayer side-by-side competitive shooters. You had Twisted Metal had a little bit of it, but nothing like this.
Yeah, and even that wasn't first person. That was still third person. So it's that first person perspective that makes this feel so special.
So this game really did rule the roost. And this is some of my favorite memories as a kid of playing with my friends this game. We come playing in a group and getting together around this. And I'll explain why. And it's because before this, we never sat around like ducked around corners hunting each other. You had Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but that experience sucked. And the experience sucked because the truth is, because those were skill games. You would have a friend who was really good with Sub-Zero, and you just couldn't beat him because he owned Super Nintendo or he owned whatever system you're playing on, and you were never going to beat that person. And it just was awful. With Goldeneye, the skill ceiling's really low. The game is not hard, and the learning curve is really short. So some players were better than others, but it wasn't like Killer Instinct 45 hit combo that's coming out of nowhere. And that really is the secret sauce, the greatness of this game, because anyone could sit down and play it. And this became a social experience that was better than Madden or anything else that came about, because 4 people, it would never be 4 people, by the way. It would be like 10.
Yeah. But You'd have to pass the control. Whoever got killed first had to pass the controller to somebody else.
It's that first, the first one killed or last one alive got to stay, depending on how you.
There were different ways to divide that up. Yeah.
King of the Mountain, whatever
Winner
it was.
Stays, or the top 2 players stay. 2 people swap out. Yeah.
Exactly. And even like the person who maybe was King of the Mountain for a little bit, everyone would celebrate when they would die because they would die.
And they gang up on them. Yeah.
Yeah. But this game was, because the game, it just was not that skilled of a game. So like Tom, to your point about like Quake and those, you're right. Because as a PC player playing this game was annoying for a lot of PC players because you couldn't. The skill set wasn't there.
And my skills didn't translate. Yeah.
You're coming and saying, "Hey, I'm excellent at shooters. Watch this," and you're getting wrecked by a dude who is like on the football team who has never played a video game in his life. Like, how am I losing this guy? Because the skill ceiling on this thing is like 3 feet. It does not exist. But that's what made it great, because anyone could play. I remember we would be playing, anyone would join us. It was co-ed. It was everything. There was no skill set to it. Yep. And that's because you could also change your game options. I always played Golden Gun, which meant 1 shot, 1 kill. Right. I think it's the best way to play the game, because this way you can also cycle through the crowd pretty quickly.
That's true, yes.
It just worked. And a lot of what made the game great too was, ironically, it was poorly made. Kato, the game's not well made. It is a poorly made game. Reloading takes a while. So when you play Golden Gun, you're basically shooting with flintlock pistols. Watch John Wick 3. That's what I'm talking about here.
Right,
You miss, you die because you miss and the person and guns you down. A lot of yelling, by the way. This led to a lot of yelling. You also had to house rule a ton of stuff because for some reason, Oddjob, who by the way is not that short in the movie, but in the game was atrociously short, you couldn't shoot him because he was just too low. So no, you couldn't let him play Oddjob. If you didn't play Golden Gun, you had to say no proximity mines because those were a nightmare. He would throw those all over the place. Also, they would slow the game down atrociously. If you drop proximity mines, the game would, the frame rate would just disappear.
Oh man, talk about the frame. Even without them, the frame rate's like a solid 15 frames per second at best.
Honestly, you guys jump into the comments, tell us your house rules for this game because I know some of you had them. I'd love to hear them because there are a ton. This is what made the game great. You had all these house rules, like, oh no, you can't do this. You have to do this. Everyone has to play this. I mean, I remember at times when you play Golden Gun, never had to play the same character. That's how hard we go into it. Not even to be competitive. Just I don't want to hear. It was more of a, because we were drinking. Like, I don't want to hear anyone complain. Everyone's that guy. Grab the Golden Gun. Let's go. And it was just fun. And it was thing. But this game was accessible. That's what made it fun because you'd have someone coming in saying, I've never played this before. Can you imagine walking into people playing like a Killer Instinct? Mortal Kombat.
And having a shot at all.
I've never played this game before. Is it fun? It's not going to be for you. Not in any way, shape, or form. Or Quake, we talked about last week. Nope. This is going to be the inverse of fun for you, whereas this game was actually fun. And that's what makes it awesome. All right.
It's like a happy accident almost. It's like the game was crappy enough to be
so bad, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the movies we talked about. But and the controls are so bad, like I mentioned, but that also lends it to the idea that anyone can pick it up and play it because everyone's equally as handicapped by bad controls.
Yes. It is a bad. Also, we should have, the N64 controller, for those who never had one, not a good design.
It's super weird. Yeah. Super
not
weird.
A good design.
Okay, did you know anyone who did this? Because I knew some guys who did this. They took cardboard boxes and they cut it into panels that would help divide the screen so that nobody could peek on each other's side of the screen.
Here's the thing. The way we played, we let everyone peek.
Yeah, that was just part of the...
We just accepted it.
Right.
We accepted it. The thing is, but also it has to do with an age thing. The thing about the no peeking thing is I also come from like Tecmo Bowl back in the day and some of the early Madden games.
Sure.
Where like you just kind of learn at a certain point to tuck your controller a little bit.
Yes, right. Because you can tell what play they're going to use because absolutely.
It came from that era. And so you just kind of accept. But the truth was playing Madden back in the early 90s, I knew what defense or play you're running just from the formation half the time. Like, all right, and I just move a player. The early video games were tough. So it's like, look, I know where you are. I'm going to come get you, but you also see where I am. So
I knew some guys. Yeah.
Flintlock pistols.
Yeah. I knew some guys who were so hardcore into this that they wanted to legitimately see who could beat each other if you couldn't see the other person's side of the screen. And so they manufactured the flimsiest, stupid solution of cardboard in order to block each other. And they didn't use it all the time, but they gave it a solid attempt and eventually just gave up with it.
The problem with the cardboard thing is you'd have to sit so close to the TV or for it to work that you actually get blinded by it because the pixels are so bad. So,
it was, it was a worthy effort, but it didn't actually work very well. But and I remember... Not a whole lot. I mean, we had very similar experiences, slightly different age groups, but you're right about the co-ed thing. I remember hanging out with, especially in college, it was a bunch of guys and girls just hanging out at a party. Yeah. And hey, what are they playing on the TV over there? Okay, let me give it a shot. And, we'll hand...
And you could be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Sarah wants to try. Give her a controller. And all of a sudden she's shooting everyone in the head. And she's like, this game's great. Yeah. We're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Sarah's awesome. Yeah.
Right. And here's another thing. And people might be looking back at this with... I don't know, just a different perspective because today it's more common for women to be playing games and be open about it. And they feel less condemnation from other people. They can get into shooters and violent games and things like that because anybody can enjoy anything. Right. Yeah. And it's much more common today. But back in the late 90s, it was a little bit odd to see the girls at the party get into shooting each other.
This and Mario Kart were the first two games that really did kind of break the gender barrier where you would see a lot more of that. So the N64 was a good consoles, sort of. It just made me dizzy, and I hate the controller.
Sure.
Let's get to the bad, because there is some bad. And I will say the first bad is this game was a flash in the pan. As much as I think we probably played this every Friday or Saturday night for about 6 months. And then it stopped.
Yeah.
And I think most people, that was what it is, because as fun as it was repetitive, and we're done.
Yeah, and it's not like games today where every few months they'll go, oh, we're dropping some new maps. Oh, we've got a new character. Oh, here's a new gun. Like, you didn't download new stuff. The game was just what it was on the cartridge, and that's all you got. Yeah. And there's no progression at all. It's not like the more you play it, the more you open up other stuff so that you can access more things. None of that happened. So you had the whole package right from the beginning, but then that was it. Yeah,
and I think, you mentioned earlier being a Quake player at this era. Quake has stat tracking. You've got ranking. You've got
different servers. Yeah, if you went on servers that were tracking that, or just different mods. Every few weeks, you could log on to another server and be like, "What's this? I've never seen this mod before. Let's try out this game mode." That stuff was constantly evolving because it was online. And like I mentioned in the Quake episode, you could download stuff. But
this game, not the same. This game was only competitive with your friends, so eventually it kind of went away.
Yeah.
Another challenge with it was you needed a big TV to play with 4 people, and they were expensive back then. We were talking thousands upon thousands of dollars. Yeah. Playing 4 people on a 32-inch CRT was rough, especially with bad frame rates. And this game would slow down randomly. It really, and going back and playing it again, it reminded me the game is not well made. I mean, really not well made.
Yeah. Yes.
The way the zooms come in, everything about this game is pretty not great, if I'm being honest. And it's funny because playing it again, it is a nostalgia A+ game. If you ask me, hey, what was one of your favorite memories from the 90s of playing video games? This is going to be, Goldeneye is going to be in that ranking every time. And if someone would say to me, it's a good game, I'll say, absolutely not. As opposed to like Final Fantasy VII also is in that ranking, which I still play. If you're thinking, hey, best game of like the late 90s, I'll list you 10 games. Of the 10 games I list, like Fallout will be in there. I still play Fallout. Final Fantasy VII, I still play it. It'll be games I still play, and then this thing will be in there. And it's like, will you still play that? Absolutely not. It sucks.
Yeah, I think Face Off was the perfect movie to pair with this game. Because it's like, if you're in the club, it's cool. But should you play it? No.
No.
Don't go watch it. Don't go play it. Don't. Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a funny story about this, because this was about 16 years ago, and they did a re-release of this game on the Wii. And there was an edition they put out with like a golden controller. And I had a friend who was so excited to re-experience Goldeneye. And he got the game and he came over to my place, and my wife and him and I were all there, and we're playing 1v1v1 or whatever. We're just trying stuff out. I don't remember if there were bots or whatever, but we just jumped in, we played it. We played for about an hour. And then we just kind of like, the excitement went from like 11 to, yeah. So that's what that's right. That's what this game is.
It just fits, and that's the thing, because it fit the timeline. That's why this game is so good. It's as opposed to, I'll use Mario Kart, as opposed to Mario Kart. Mario Kart still holds up. You could still play N64 Mario Kart because it's a different style of game.
Yeah.
This one doesn't.
Yeah.
It was at the time, it was something we hadn't had because it was the first ever.
Right.
It was its first. Now Halo then does this later.
Oh, yeah, it does it way better.
Call of Duty does it right now. Like, we have this at our fingertips at all times. So we're going back and doing it now. It feels like a really terrible, gross. It's like watching Speed Racer as a cartoon.
Okay.
Right? Is it or early Voltron? Yeah. Look, at the time, it was amazing, but you look at it now going like, is this even animated? Like, what the hell's happening on the TV? It's just those, it just doesn't, because it's so archaic, it just doesn't look good. Right. But those memories, those are core memories for all of us. And I think that it's going to hold up place in my heart despite that. But yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, if you had grown up in like a isolated part of the world without any peers around you, you probably never would have played this, because it was the having the friends thing that really made it work.
And I'll use the example of the game. We're not going to cover Perfect Dark, I don't think, ever, but Perfect Dark is a sequel to this. Perfect Dark was fun. I remember playing Perfect Dark. I actually popped Perfect Dark on and be like, hey. And by the way, it is better because it is, you actually can play it. The controllers actually, the buttons work. The gun shoots straight, like all these magical things.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still, the Perfect Dark basically it's just N64 Halo. Yeah. It's kind of, but whatever. Yeah. These games, if you had a social circle, and I know like people who had this, were of the right age. This was, if you're younger, if you're born in the 90s, it still is a game you may have played with your friends. You may have gone to their house at 8, 9, 10 years old, and you were playing this up all night at a sleepover at your friend's house. That's where this is gonna have a core memory for you.
Yeah, the couch competitive thing is a thing from that era. And it just doesn't even exist anymore because we all just play online, Yeah. But you know what? The reason why we're talking about this is because the rest of the shooters that came after it wouldn't have been the same without this game. And it's not that they learned to put bad controls in and have bad level design or anything like that. But what they did take away from this was, this is a recipe that can work. And if you improve a lot of that other stuff, it could be even better, which is why we get games like Halo, which was a huge step forward for console first-person shooters.
Halo had the LAN, and that's what
it had a LAN, but it also had controls that actually felt good. The shooting in Halo felt good. You could actually aim at things. The thumbstick movement and being able to kind of, like when you move the thumbstick on this, your reticle jumps frames. It is not smooth. It's very hard to aim at things.
Terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But Halo had something about the way Bungie dialed Halo in, made it work really, really well. And this is the game that made all the mistakes for everyone else to learn from and then make better games.
It's great way of looking at it. But so I think we've answered the conclusion of what do we think. So was it fun back in the day? Yes. Should anyone play it?
Yes.
No.
Nope.
Because you can't. You can't recreate the sad truth. Our show is called Retro Recall, and the fact of the matter is you can't recreate nostalgia.
Yeah.
You just can't. Some things just don't hold up, and this is one of them.
Yeah, some experiences just belong in the past, and you just never can have them again.
Yeah. It's just what it is. And unfortunately, I wish it weren't the case, but Goldeneye is one of them. So.
Yep. Yeah. Well said. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We've got a bunch of your comments to get to, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. And before we get to the comments, if you've enjoyed this show and you want to check out our other shows, John does the 40K Lorecast and the history of the 40K. I do the Fallout Lorecast, the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, and the Lord of the Rings Lorecast. You can check those out. They're all on Robots Radio, robotsradio.net if you want to just find each of the shows, but you can always just look up whatever shows you want on whatever podcatcher you're listening to this on. Also, if you want to help us out, leave a review, give us a 5-star review, tell a friend, spread the word. I actually went out this weekend to celebrate my wife's best friend's birthday and I saw some of the mutual friend couples that I haven't seen in a while. And some of the guys were asking me, they were like, hey, so what are the podcasts that you do again? And I brought this one up and they were like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
They were like, they were so into it. They were like, wait, what games have you played with this game yet? Have you covered this one? I was like,
it comes up every time. Yeah,
I was like, you guys need to tune into this because they are absolutely in that same like demo of people in our age range that have just like grown up with this stuff. And they're like, oh man, we were talking like jobs, like lawyer stuff and accountants and things like this. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, video games. Let's talk about that. So good stuff. But here, let's get to the comments. Buckalar is responding again with the Final Fantasy episode saying, I love the idea of movie games theme. Also could do a special involving pun games like James Pond. Some of those are great. That's a fun theme. Pun games.
All the pun games. Yeah. I mean, the problem is I like them too much. I will love those games.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea that we have listeners thinking about, because we've been doing these themes now of like, what would be another fun theme to do? So fun ideas, Buckler. Thank you for that. Christian on the D&D Dark Queen episode says, you guys could check out Fire Warrior and some of the old 40K games that have recently been added to Steam. I love the show, you guys. You know what? I've definitely plugged into some of these older 40K games in the past, but I don't remember Fire Warrior.
Fire Warrior, it's a TOW game, THQ. So THQ, they had the IP for Warhammer for a while. They made Dawn of War. The Fire Warrior was a good game. It's a first-person shooter. It's a very, very good game.
Interesting. For some reason, I just don't recall.
A lot of people didn't play it. No, a lot of people missed it. It's a game that is very well reviewed, but the way that the cover is, unless you play Warhammer, you didn't play the game. It's one of those games where, like Dawn of War, because it was an RTS, a lot of people played Dawn of War because they like RTSs. Fire Warrior is an FPS, and so it's like, well, do you like Warhammer?
And there were a lot of them. There were a lot of them. There was a lot of competition, whereas RTS competition wasn't nearly the same thing.
Yeah, and it was 2003. So
okay, well, I'll have to look that up. And speaking of Dawn of War, another John, not you, but a John with one less letter in their name, which means they're 25% not as much John, says, "Hey, John."
Yeah.
Oh, maybe there's more John. Anyway,
it means it's a Jonathan. That's usually what that means.
Anyway, they say, "Hey, John, when are you going to make Tom play Dawn of War? Also, I think it would be fun if you did an episode or two talking about terrible movies from the 80s, perhaps as an April Fool's Day episode." So, John, the commenter, I have played Dawn of War. I love the Dawn of War games. I played a bunch of those games. They're great. Yeah. So it's not that I haven't played them, but yes, absolutely. And we've got Dawn of War 4 on the horizon. That seems awesome. But what do you think about terrible movies from the 80s as an April Fool's Day episode?
There's just so many of them. The issue is it's like you have to narrow it down because there's just too many.
Yeah.
Because you also have, in the 80s, you do have direct to VHS. Yes. So like how terrible do we go? You'd have to sit there and say terrible movie that did at least X amount at the box office. Right. Because otherwise it's just easy. Because don't forget, you're also talking to someone who loves Return of the Killer Tomatoes. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is good, but Return of the Killer Tomatoes, starring George Clooney, is a fantastic film. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, we've discussed maybe doing movies at some point, but we're going to stick with games for now, but you never know. Things might change in the future. We'll see. Miles says, being only 15, my game nostalgia comes from my dad, but through you guys, I finally played Lemmings and could never look back. There you go. Yeah, and awesome you being 15 listening to our podcast. Thank you. Teenagers in the audience, we're glad you guys are here experiencing this because we at least get to share some gaming history with you. But Miles also says, also want to thank John for taking time out of his day to talk to me through Discord.
Of course, anytime. I'm always around. Yeah, people, if you guys message me in Discord, I will respond. It might take me a day, but I always respond. I'm not special. I will always respond. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Lemmings is an amazing game. I tell everyone it's one of those, Lemmings and Dr. Mario are two games that I think will just stand the test of time.
Yeah, they're up there with Tetris. They've got that they're just mechanically sound.
Yeah, I like them more than Tetris.
I would lump them into these are mechanically sound and anybody could get into them. And even as they get older, they don't really age. The graphics are older, but they still work. Thanks, Miles, for that one. And definitely in the responding to things, I'm the one who manages the Robots Radio Discord. John does the 40K Discord, but he also pops into the Robots Radio Discord. Yep. So if you are on Discord and you message and comment on there, we are both very active with our communities. So absolutely feel free to jump in. Azure, maybe? I don't know how that's pronounced. On the dark. Asser says, keep up all the great reviews. I loved playing Dark Sun and Al-Qadim growing up.
Al-Qadim. Yep. Good game.
In between Warcraft, of course. Love the Fallout Lorecast. And sorry, John, but I'm a Gotrek and Felix fan.
That's fine. That's fine. It's fine.
Awesome. Thank you for that one. Peter on the Dark Queen episode says, you know what other fun vehicle-based game is? The Oregon Trail. I had never thought of it that way, but
I mean, it would have been a fun one to go to Oregon Trail at the end of it. All right. I mean, it's
you've got a wagon.
It's not a
you got to float that wagon across the river.
It's not a reliable. God, that game sucked.
Just died all the time. Awesome. Dan on the Pools of Radiance, or Pool of Radiance. I always want to say Pools. Pool of Radiance episode says, when you guys mentioned the GTA controversy, it got me wondering, do you guys remember when games started to get ratings? I remember when we first got a used Xbox 360 in middle school that came with a bunch of games. My parents took all the M-rated games and sold them, but it included the boxed copy of The Elder Scrolls Oblivion that had the earlier T rating. Oh boy, was that lucky. Anyways, love the podcast, even if I'm not quite old enough to have played most of those games. Do you know about this, John? The TM rating Oblivion thing?
Because they didn't know what it was. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they didn't play enough of it to realize that once you got into the Dark Brotherhood questline, it got super dark. Yeah. And then they re-rated it. And so there are copies out there with the T rating that made it out. But yeah, that's awesome. Also, as a teenager, that sucks, man. But as a dad, good on your parents. So
Yeah.
I feel both ways.
Yeah, I'm dealing with the fact that my child may or may not use the F word on occasion, and he is quite young.
Yeah, there's like, as a parent, there are certain things that I'm like, so that doesn't really like.
I mean, he does it with perfect context. That's the problem. And my wife keeps telling me that that's not a good enough excuse. And I keep going, well, it's perfect context, though, every time, and inflection. And I'm like,
right. And it also depends on your kid. Some kids, you can just put that stuff in front of them. It doesn't bug them at all. They're fine. And then other kids are just like, you show them, I don't know, a little bit of violence and they're like, I can't handle it. Yeah, it just depends on the person. We got one from Rose on the Star Fox episode who says, now I'm having PTSD flashbacks of dealing with Slippy's uselessness. Yeah. Also, at some point, you guys need to cover Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. As much as I like the first one, I think 2 surpasses it. Absolutely.
Very much. Yeah. 2 is way better. The music's better. 2 is... Is 2 the one where you can be Wolverine? I think 2 is the one where you can be Wolverine.
Was it Spider-Man and then Wolverine in 3? Or was it Wolverine in 2 and Spider-Man in 3? It was something like that. I don't remember. Both of them show up in those games. And then Rose also says, plus it's filled to the brim with music John either likes or at least respects. Yeah, no, the music is great. It's great in those games.
Yeah, you're right. It's right. It was Spider-Man, Officer Dick, Private Carrera, and 80s Tony. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And then I think Wolverine showed up in the third one, if I recall.
Yeah, but that was, if you had 100% completion, you got Spider-Man.
Man. And he would kick his board away and then he'd web it back to his feet. Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah, that was very cool. It
was a good game. Yep.
Yeah, thanks for that one. Segoth on the Star Fox episode says, Star Fox is a life lesson. Slippy needs help and asks for it. Falco needs help but acts like he does not. We all know people like this.
That's fair.
True.
That's fair.
Very true.
That's fair.
Very true. This one from Keith, I think.
I already read it. Boo.
Yes. Keith says, rap rock greater than Guar, LOL.
Look, I love Guar. I don't defend Guar. I know better. It's one of these, like, I love them. I know what I love. I'm aware. I've seen them 26, 27 times in concert, all with the original singer. I know what I do. But aware. What
about rap rock? Is rap rock better than Guar? No. But we both agree with that.
But it's hard. But here's the thing. Like, I just don't defend Guar because at the same point, like, it's not a debate I want to get into because I listen to people who dress up in costumes and pretend they're aliens from a foreign planet. It's just like, you know what? We just let it go. I let it go. I just like Guar and I leave it at that.
Yeah. But I also don't like rap rock. So
I know.
We'll just put that out there too.
Fair.
And then we've got one more from Jack on the Star Fox episode. He says, John hated the names. Let's hope he doesn't find out that one of the bad guys in Star Fox 64 is named Wolf and is also a wolf. That feels thematically correct.
Way to phone it in. Nothing drives me more nuts by the way that people phone in stuff like that. It's like, come on, just name him Ted. That's my thing.
Right. Like just take it one step in a direction and name him like Lupus or something that means wolf. That isn't actually just the word wolf.
But I thought you either just do that or again, Ted. Bill.
Fine. Yes.
Bob. I don't care, but don't name him Wolf. It's just insulting to me.
Well, what's his dad's name? Also Wolf.
Have fun. Name him Deer. Like just go different animal. It's his elephant and it's a wolf. Like what's happening here? Did they get the translation wrong? Then it's funny because then you're messing people's brains. That I would appreciate.
Yeah, I love that idea. I would joke when I was a teenager. I was like, one day I'm gonna have a dog and name it cat, and then I'm gonna have a cat and name it bird, and then I'm gonna have a bird and name it dog. Yeah, and everyone who comes to my house will be very confused. And I thought that was super witty. And now here we are. All right, so those are all of our comments. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to leave those. We really do appreciate it. John, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we're going back to PC, obviously, because we're doing FPSs, and that's where they tend to live. And we're going to see how much damage you can do with a little block down a hallway. Rainbow Six.
Right.
So as you guys can figure out, we're trying to do a theme and games that launched something. So we had our first one was Quake. Single, you're all by yourself. Do your best, buddy. Then we went over to Goldeneye, where it's you and 4 people playing in a room trying to kill each other. Now we get Rainbow Six, which is a bit different. Now it's the first time. Hey, what if you and your friends were on the same team?
Yeah. Yeah. And what if you had to tactically plan out how to breach a location and then you only had like one shot to get it right? And then if everyone dies, you got to start over.
Yeah. Yes. And so this is the first time where they turned multiplayer games into a team action. And I'm just going to quote Tale of Two Cities, because it is the best of times and it is the worst of times. And it's also created some of the best and worst things on the internet.
So there you go. We'll see you all next week.
Oof.
Bye, everybody.
Retro Recall.
Robots Radio. Games. Lore. Stories. Community. Just press play.